this show is to bring out the treasures, the hidden silence in this world of noises. There are many silent beings who have much to share. Through this show, we are trying to recognize them, understand what they're saying, and bring out their revelations on the sacred India or the secret India to the world. One such treasure is Krishna Guruji. Krishna Guruji. His divine calling came on March 4th, 2001, when after suffering from achalasia cardia, he went into dilation, almost losing his life on the hospital bed. His knowledge is self-revealed, and he's never really studied the scriptures, but after that day, he expounded the most toughest and the most beautiful scriptures effortlessly. His guru is Lord Dattatreya, and Krishna Guruji's sole purpose is to establish dharma on earth. Krishna Guruji neither has any desires nor covets anything for himself. He imparts the most esoteric knowledge of all to only those genuine spiritual seekers. He explains the language of love and devotion for the divine and teaches the way of life, how to do one's duty and work towards knowing yourself by setting himself as an example to his disciples and devotees for the world to follow. We are privileged to have the humility personified Sri Krishna Guruji with us today. Namaste Guruji, thank you so much
Namaste.
for your time. Welcome you on the show, and it's a big blessing to have you here with us. One question, the first one that I wanted to ask you was that you have spoken about Uddhava Gita and the Bhagavad Gita, and could you please explain about the relevance and the greatness of Lord Krishna in both these Gitas?
Lord Krishna has been the main sutradhar in everything, in our life also. It is called the consciousness, it is called the soul, or see, people consider that as a soul. We call it as the Jivatma in every human being. Okay? So he is the main essence of it all. And always when people say there is God within me, so that would be the divine that we are talking about. Some people call him Krishna by name, some people call him Bhagavan, some people call him Father in heaven. They can call him whatever name that they want to. It is that divine consciousness which is there in every human being or every object that is there in this universe. So in the Uddhava Gita and the Bhagavad Gita is much known to people because yes, we have seen the Mahabharata, we have done a lot of B.R. Chopra's in this. The Mahabharata has been an ongoing thing. And the Bhagavad Gita has been very well accepted by human beings. But the Uddhava Gita is one of the deepest scriptures from the Bhagavatam. This comes from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the entire, massive collection of stories about the divine, the various avatars. And in that, Uddhava Gita is very much there. And the two differences between, let us say, the Bhagavad Gita and the Uddhava Gita. Bhagavad Gita was told to Arjuna. And during the war, the Mahabharata, But Uddhav Gita was told to Uddhava, who was his kinsman, when he was just about to pass away. That means just before his death.
Right.
So you can decide for yourself which has got more relevance in the world. Something that a person speaks at the time of death has more value.
Right.
In the same way, in Uddhav Gita, Krishna himself is giving a lesson to Uddhava. And he says that Bhishma Pitama, when he was dying, has given a lesson to Yudhishthir. And that has more relevance. So he himself is saying that in the Uddhav Gita, he's reciting it, he's saying it to Uddhava. So for human beings today, the Bhagavad Gita is a different set of teachings and Uddhav Gita is a different set of teachings. The Bhagavad Gita is all about how to go about living your life in extreme circumstances. Like he is fighting a war, he's going to fight a war. And he shows his inability to fight those kind of circumstances. That is the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna finds it extremely difficult to manage situations where this family is concerned. You know, we also go through this. Where your family is concerned, how do I take this call? Suppose you have a relation who is wayward, who is having a problem. How do you take a call on that? And at that time, we get biased and we say, no, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Okay. And exactly how Arjuna also does the same thing. He shows his inability. He says, mere se nahi hoga. I will not be able to do this. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna has to give him a lot of hope, a lot of knowledge at that point in time and tell him, don't worry, you just have to go ahead and fight. The relevance in today's day and age. Let us say you are in a corporate environment and you have to sack 100 people. How do you do that? Are you going to sleep after that? In today's day and age with the coronavirus thing happening, there is a lot of people being thrown out of jobs. How do you throw them out of jobs?
But people said that
how do you
inhuman to do that, like one should not do that, it's not right to do that. Is that correct?
You may say that, but if the need of the hour is like that, what do you do? The company says either you or these 100 people. What do you do? So what happens is, this is a situation. I just gave you a situation. In doctors' lives also, when a doctor is performing a surgery, there are certain very crucial decisions that they have to take.
Yes.
And when they take those calls, those decisions, then at that point in time, they have to do it with detachment, dispassion. I'm sure, you see, normally in my satsangs, I give examples of different movies.
Please give us examples of different movies.
Okay. You see in the Munna Bhai series, isn't it?
Yes.
So he is a doctor and he says, I cannot go and do the operation myself. Yes. So he's like that. So even the other scene is up in the air. George Clooney is told he's supposed to, sack so many people. How do you do that? Now, this is a situation. So now you can understand Bhagavad Gita is applicable over here. Because when you are cornered, literally you don't know where to turn to. It's like a short pill. You take it and then you do your job and then you move ahead. And then the next situation comes and then the next and then the next. Your life is always going to be full of these ups and downs.
Right.
So when the situations arise, you have to take a decision. As a CEO of a company or as a very senior HR, whoever you might be, you have to take a call. Today's day, we have a situation where the economy is in ruins because of this coronavirus. Jobs are having a problem. There are so many people without jobs. So many places have closed down in the last so many days. Let us say 3 months time, you will find that some of the biggest brand names have shut down. There are stores called Muji, there is Ann Taylor, there are so many other big brands. They have shut down. Suddenly, one fine day, the store is not there. Microsoft closed all its shops. What do you do? So, when you face this situation, what is a person supposed to do? Now, we are talking about a decision maker on one side. This is a decision maker. He has to take decisions. He has to take a call. So that is on a higher level. But at a lower level also, the decisions have to be very, very important. Let us say you have to send your child to a school or a college. Now there is shortage of funds. What do you do? घर चलाना है या फिर उसके fees भरने हैं. Should I run my house or should I pay the fees? What do? I have to sell my properties. I have to, put this money over there, and too many tough decisions. So Bhagavad Gita is the best example for this kind of decision making. The Bhagavad Gita teaches you that you can be who you want to be. You can be a warrior. You can be a butcher. You can be a carpenter. You can be an IT person. You can be a teacher. You can be anything. Do your job diligently. But how? That how is the technique which your guru teaches you. Because you really don't have much clue and understanding. Just like if your company is going through hell, you call in consultants, isn't it? Say, I want to save my company. You have to save your life. So the consultant here is the guru. What does he do? He gives you techniques, methodologies, ways and means by which you can get out of this world unscathed, become liberated. So Krishna teaches Arjuna a technique which is called Nishkam Karma. You perform the karma, but it doesn't convert itself into a karma. It doesn't get added to the cycle of those sanchit. So this is what is important. You have to do the karma because it's a job. You can't deny your job, no? You have to sack those people. You have to do it. But if you get attached to anybody and if you do your job, you're not doing your duty. If you are a warrior and if you have to kill those 1,000 people in war, and you say, poor fellows, he's got a wife, he's got kid, what is he going to do? Can you do that in the war? You can't do that. You are fighting a war and you have to be the best soldier over there. So you have to do your duty diligently, perfectly. You are specific for the job. Otherwise, why are you there? Why are you an HR consultant? Why are you this person who is in that job who has to sack 100 people? Understood? It is a job. You have to do it perfectly. If you are a butcher, you have to cut those animals. It's a job. So whatever is the job that you have to do perfectly, that is what Krishna teaches you in the Bhagavad Gita. Do it nishkam, without any attachment to it, so that it doesn't come back to you to bite you. So imagine if you are killing 1,000 people, those 1,000 people will have to kill you, someday. If it is a karma, think, if you're killing 1,000 people, how many times can the 1,000 people kill you? Once only, every life.
Yeah.
So every life, so you need to have 1,000 life as human beings, no? Uddhav Gita is for literally every person. You may have started at kindergarten stage also, it is there. If you have started very high up in your life, let us say you're 60, 70 years of age, it is good for you. It is covering an entire range from birth to death. it discusses different philosophies. Imagine Krishna is about to die and Uddhava is asking him, Gurudev, can you please tell me the answers? How am I supposed to live? How is the world supposed to live? So in the Uddhava Gita, my Gurudev's mention is very predominant. There are a couple of chapters on that where Krishna himself says this, that his Purvaj, Krishna's Purvaj, they met this Avadhuta, Dattatreya. And Dattatreya's entire teachings are mentioned over there. Okay?
Okay.
Now in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no mention of any teachings like this. Think. There is no mention of any of the other things which are mentioned, like say for example, what is a person supposed to do after retirement? Kya karega wo? So that he has to take a call. See, in our world, what does a person do after retirement? TV dekhte baithte hain. Bola ye serial hai, is pe ye serial chal rahi hai. And they will say, you know what? I'm watching all those God serials only. Okay, सास बहू की सीरियल के बीच में गॉड सीरियल भी चल रहे हैं. Just imagine this is a joke, and they think they are becoming very devout. And once in a year they will do some tirtha yatra and they will say, I went to Tirupati, I went to this place, I went to that place. Do you really think that is spirituality? That is not spirituality at all. So Uddhava Gita teaches us everything. It teaches us about the self. Teaches us the different teachings of Dattatreya. It teaches you right from how you live your life as a grahastha. Grahastha is your age, would be grahastha people. You know, dunya mein kaise rehna. And then as you grow up, and as a sannyasi, how do you live? So you can imagine the entire range of teachings is phenomenal. And it covers the entire spectrum. There, the mention of Kundalini Yoga is also there.
Okay.
In the Bhagavad Gita, it is not there.
Okay.
In this Uddhava Gita, it is there. If you go to the last one of it, there's Anu Gita and there is some other. So there he is mentioning it literally, you know, it's a very tiny stuff. So he just says those words and carry on with it. So Uddhava Gita has much more relevance, but it is not as famous as the Bhagavad Gita. So people really don't have much idea about it.
Guruji, what did exactly Uddhava Gita contain? You know, right from the start to the end, if you could give us a gist.
Yes. See, Uddhava Gita is a scripture which is, like I said, it is in the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is all the lives of Vishnu, different lifetimes that he has been on this planet Earth. Right from the first avatar that he took. See, he took the first avatar, and you may think that the avatar may be somebody that you know, but no, it is Kapila Muni.
What? Really?
Kapila Muni is the first avatar. And in that, he is, you know whom he is teaching? He is teaching his mother, Devavati. He is telling her how to go about this lifetime. Now you tell me, Kapila Muni, Devavati, kisne suna hai? I mean, hardly anybody has heard about it. When you talk of woman's empowerment, this is the first thing that is mentioned over there. How to empower the woman. That is the first avatar. And the first set of teachings. Kapila Muni's teachings to his mother. So, if I take the Bhagavatam like this, Uddhava Gita comes somewhere in the middle. And it is at a time when Krishna is just closing his chapters. And Uddhava is asking him, how does a person live in this world? What is he supposed to do? And that is the reason why Krishna is explaining to him the different things. Right from example, let us say, now when you start your day, I'm assuming that you will at least have, God, let this day be good. I don't want to go through that problem that I went through yesterday. You're definitely praying and you want a better day today. And you want tomorrow to be still better. So we pray to God. Okay. So this God, I'm saying God, remember this. Who is this God? So the God that you are talking about is the small g. G-O-D. Small G-O-D. This God is perishable. Is a perishable commodity. Because Brahmaji has a certain lifetime. After his lifetime, he will go away. Vishnu has a certain lifetime, he will go away. Shiva has a lifetime, he will go away. None of these gods are going to remain. Nobody remains. So all these gods cannot be the capital G-O-D, isn't it? So who is the capital G-O-D? So this is mentioned literally in every religion in the world, but
how come Uddhav Gita, which is the eternal principles of life itself, how come that is not as popular as something which is in a dilemma like Bhagavad Gita, which was delivered during that time?
Everybody loves to hear stories.
Hmm.
So I would love to hear a Mahabharata, a very beautiful story from beginning to end, a Ramayana, and I feel nice about it.
Okay.
But if I have to tell you that, Vasishtha Muni has given teachings to Ram, what is it? I don't understand anything. I mean, it all goes over my head, people will say.
Is that why everything that you teach and you share, you always use an example and a story? I've seen various satsangs and the stories are so relatable that it makes it very interesting.
Story is very easy to understand. For an ignorant person, ignorant matlab, those who do not understand spirituality, we have to tell stories for them to realize what is being said. How can I talk about the self and this and that and all those kind of things? What are you talking about? So here it is important to give a story. Simple example is this. You see, there is a 4 or a 5-year-old child who asks his mother, "Mom, where did I come from?" What answer is she going to give? So she has to concoct a story and give the child. Okay? And the story is given in such a manner that the child understands and doesn't pester her once again. But the gist of the story is very important. What is the gist of the story? The gist of the story is you were born this way. It's like, now you know Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these great stories. Now for all these simple, ignorant, innocent people, what do you tell them? You tell them stories, isn't it? I will tell you something very simple. Think what is being said before you even say the word. Okay? Now, what was the name of the father of Sri Ram?
I don't remember.
Dasharath.
Dashrath. Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Say the word Dasharath.
Dashrath.
What does it mean?
I don't know, to be honest.
Dash.
10.
Das. Rath.
10 heads, like, no, 10
Chariots.
10 chariots. Yeah. That's right.
Human beings are made up of 10 chariots. 5 sensory organs, senses you know, ne?
Yes.
You can see, hear, touch, feel, all those things, huh?
Yes.
5 senses and 5 organs of action. 5 organs of action, 2 hands, 2 legs, genitals, evacuation organ, and the tongue for speech. So these 10 organs makes one human being. Dashrath, we are driven by these 10 chariots. In our material world, we see some object and we run after it. We hear something, run after it doesn't mean run. It means we get attracted towards that object. Think. His son is Ram. His wife is Sita. Ram is married to Sita. Now Ram, as we say in our Sri Ram, is considered as God Almighty, isn't it? That's what we say. Bhagwan.
Yes.
Married to Sita. Sita Maiya. Now Sita Maiya, she has been troubled so much, we say. Who is Sita? Sita is this body. Think. The body has God inside. Don't we say this? Sab mein Ram hai. We say, na? Mere tan mein Ram, mere man mein Ram. We say these words for what? The God is inside of you. Sita is the body. Now what happens to Sita? She gets attracted towards one Haran, you know. I'm just cutting the story short for understanding purpose. She gets kidnapped. Kidnapped by whom? Ravana.
Yeah.
10-headed monster.
Oh Lord, so this is a metaphor.
This 10-headed monster is Rajasic in nature. We look at objects and we say, oh my God, my neighbor has bought this nice car. I also want to own one. She's wearing a nice sari. I also want to go and buy that. We do this, isn't it?
But Guruji, nobody's ever interpreted it like this. Ever.
We get kidnapped by this material world. पैरों से हम चलते हैं, आंखों से देखते हैं. We smell nice stuff. Ah, nice bhajiyas are being made. I want to eat them. Well, what happens? The Shri Ram inside of us is crying. He's saying, they're not even looking at me. Sita is now there. The human being gets attracted in the material world. He gets attracted towards everything. I have to earn money. I have to do this. I have to build houses. I have to have a wife, a beautiful wife. I need to have children. They have to be sent to good schools. And I have to do this. I have to think of my own retirement plans. I have to invest money in this. I have to send money to my parents. ये सब सोचते रहते हैं. भगवान का नाम कब लेते हैं? कभी नहीं लेते. It's like, sometime, once in a while, today's day and age, think about all those people who are working. Do they have time even to go to temples or churches? Or they don't have time for anything. They are kidnapped by this 10-headed monster, by the material world. So Sri Ram says, I have to rescue my wife. Now, how do you rescue your wife? Rescue my own body? I have to get it back from there, from this 10-headed monster. I have to get it back. So what do? I take the help of Hanuman. Hanuman is the son of Vayuputra. He's called the Vayuputra. You see, when you did a ritual, isn't the first thing that you were taught is pranayama? प्राणायामा से हम लोग एटलीस्ट थोड़ा सा है ना भगवान के बारे में सोचने का शुरू करते हैं. Meditation, pranayama, all these things, isn't it? So we use the prana, the pranic energy, to get back ourselves. Don't think about all those things. Yes, you will get when the time is right. Don't run after buying the latest of the cars. You will have it in time. ये सब आता है उस टाइम पे. Detachment, dispassion, ये पूरा दुनियादारी उसमें आ जाती है. Spiritual stuff. And then you get your wife back. You means the Ram inside of you gets the wife back and says, see, don't look outside. Don't look outside now. And then what do? You enter the next phase of life. From Grahastha, you become a Vanaprastha. जंगल में छोड़ के आना जरूरी है. So Vanaprastha करते हैं. मतलब you have to give your body the chance to do those kinds of things which are necessary, so that you are able to understand the truth about life. So you go to the jungles. Jungles means not actually jungles. You go in your spiritual quest, and in your spiritual quest you meet a master, Valmiki. Cut the story short. So afterwards, Ram has got a perfect person, which is the body. So he goes to meet her, and Sita Maya says to him, I'm sorry, I cannot be with you. I have to go in the lap of my mother, the Mother Earth.
You've truly given us the gist of the real metaphors behind this. It was very beautifully explained, Guruji.
So Ramayana is interpreted as a beautiful story for kids and people who have no knowledge. Adhyatma, spiritual knowledge is important. So I just gave you just a rough understanding of how this, we are looking at it from a different perspective.
Yes.
Mahabharata is also something like that. And it happens exactly like this. And we think, oh, it's just a story. No, it's not a story. It's a quest for the spiritual. So there are three kinds of karma. One is called Sanchit karma, which is accumulated. I will explain in English, okay? Accumulated karma. Over lifetimes after lifetimes, you have accumulated karma in your life. Currently, when you have taken this life, या अभी जो आपका life है, you have come to spend some karma. Return आना चाहिए ना? या किसी से कुछ लिया, we have to return it back to that person. So this karma is called prarabdha karma. Okay? And now there is a third karma which happens, which is not there in the sanchit, accumulated. It is not there in the prarabdha, but you are doing something new. नया किया कुछ तो भी. तो उसको बोलते हैं आगामी या क्रियामान कर्म. अगर नया कर्म किया, whatever new karma that you do, it is kriyaman, it is new karma. So when you die, the kriyaman gets transferred into sanchit.
Right.
So the next life that you will come with a small quantity of prarabdha to spend. Now you think about it, how many lifetimes are there since the first Krita Yuga? First Yuga till today, how many lifetimes you must have taken? Many. So all those karmas are just piled up and piled up. Okay, so you have come to spend this prarabdha karma just now. Your job is just to spend it, not incur more.
Yes.
Correct? That is your aim in life. So this is one of those things which a person is supposed to think of when he is come at any point in time. How many karmas are there in my name? And how many lifetimes will I take because of my accumulated karmas that are there? And I got to return them all. So this is a very big story. So I will explain this in Khata, Bhai Khata. You know, we write a book of accounts.
Okay.
So
yeah.
let us say book of accounts is an ongoing company. The company is going on. And in the whole year, we have the left-hand side and the right-hand side, debit, credit. Hai? Now, debit and credit that is there. You understand these books, isn't it? So let us say my father, okay, has retired from a government service, maybe a bank or some government service or something like that. So he gets a gratuity, a small superannuation, you know, thoda paisa aa jata hai. So what does he do? He gets, say, 20 lakh rupees. So what does he do? He says, I can't spend 20 lakhs at one time. It's my 60th year, you know. I may live for another 30, 40 years, who knows? So I will put this money in some fixed account, fixed deposit. So he puts it in the fixed deposit. And the fixed deposit is going to pay him every month एक छोटा सा वो जो खर्चे के लिए क्या बोलते हैं उसको, interest, which comes, which he is going to spend on. So let us say he is getting 20,000 rupees a month to spend. 20 lakhs डाले, 20,000 he is getting to spend. I'm just saying this for understanding purpose. ऐसा तो नहीं होता, लेकिन well, you have to take it like that. So 20,000 is all that he's got to spend in his month. Now he keeps on spending every month. So he takes it, January में आ गया, खर्चा किया, February 20,000, March में 20,000. So every month he finishes on the 30th of the day, 30th day of the month, he finishes that amount. So next day, first morning, he goes and removes that much amount and he spends it for the whole month. Now suddenly it so happens that the government says, you see, when we were calculating your provident fund and all that, this time we are going to give you an additional 2 lakh rupees more. अरे वाह, I got 2 lakh rupees more. मतलब superannuation में कुछ तो भी government ने और दे दिया. So he takes that 2 lakh. Do you think he is going to spend that 2 lakhs? No. What does he do? He puts it in that 20 lakhs में.
Yeah.
है ना? So he puts it in that bank and makes it 22. That's how what he does. So these three things I'll explain. Accumulated till you were 60. Okay, gratuity. That which is gone into the bank, 20 lakhs, is called accumulated or sanchit karma.
Okay.
What every month you get from that which you have accumulated, you get to spend something, is the prarabdha karma which you have got to spend in this life. Any additional thing that happens while you are living, paisa aata hai thoda sa, that is your kriya, that is the futuristic karma that has come to you, which you are anyway not going to spend. So what you do, you put it in the sanchit. So this is an ongoing cycle. Debit credit ka chalte rehta hai. It keeps on happening. When is it going to become zero?
When you just
Never.
You don't take an action.
Never.
No?
Never. It doesn't become zero at all because he's anyway not going to take out those 20 lakhs. So this is a simple example for you to understand that man accumulates karma life after life after life after life. As you age in your life, it is important that you learn you have to get liberated. You should not come back again and again, because if you have karma against your name, sanchit, you will come back again. And what are you going to come back again as? So it's better to, this lifetime itself, can I get rid of all these karmas? So my job is to find a teacher for myself. Fortunately, if I have the goodwill of the divine, my teacher appears. So we call him the Guru. You are fortunate that you have a teacher with you.
I am. Mohanji,
So,
let me meet you.
So Mohanji is a person who has taught you, he's brought you in his fold for you to understand a very important thing, that you don't have any time left. You have very little time in your hand.
Yes.
And this is a time when you're supposed to do stuff. See, you're doing your job. It's an important job. Everybody is supposed to do their job. We are not here, like you are not a sannyasi, you are not wearing orange color clothes. I am not a sannyasi, look at my clothes. I have not been given the choice of becoming a sannyasi in my life, so I have to be that person. My job is to teach everybody. I teach them that there is no time left. Right here and now, start your journey right here and now. And get rid of the cycle of births, rebirths. And it's something that a person has to be. बोलते हैं ना उसको खुजली होनी चाहिए, person has to be, I have to get it, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. That has to be there. A constant reminder that this is my last life.
How does one recognize a true master?
A true master is a person who is completely free from all kinds of attachments. He's not bothered about money, he's not bothered about looks, he's not bothered about anything. He is a simple person. Simple person. I can tell you all the past masters that I'm talking about, and I always quote their examples. The Ramakrishna Paramahansa, look at the way the person was dressed. Look at the way the person lived his life. Sai Baba of Shirdi, who is very dear to me because my family is associated with him. Look at him. Look at the way he was wearing a kafni, a white cloth which is put on the dead body. Look at, let us say, Kabir. Look at Ramana Maharishi. These are the highest masters. Can anybody recognize them? They never took anything from anybody. I don't think any of these masters that I spoke about, Jnaneshwar, Sant Jnaneshwar, Tukaram Maharaj, you're staying in Pune. So Samartha Ramdas, which Das Bodh, which I am doing nowadays. So you go to Ganeshpuri, Nityanand Maharaj from Ganeshpuri. Nobody would recognize them because they are the supreme masters. But they are so simple. When they speak the highest truth in their life. To recognize a master, you should know the speech of his. You look at the way he speaks. Is he telling you something about liberation? Is he telling you something about God? Is he telling you something that he's not looking towards you for money or this or that and some petty benefits? You can't buy me. There's nothing in this world that can buy me. I can just walk out. Nobody recognizes me. I'm the happiest of all. It's like you live a life of an avduta. It is so simple.
Yes.
So master can be recognized by the knowledge of the divine that they have. And they can take you towards the ultimate destination, which is called liberation. And they can give you an experience of the divine. The question that Swami Vivekananda asked Ramakrishna Paramahansa, have you seen God? Without blinking an eye, he said, yes, I have seen God. A master should be that. He should be one with the divine. He should have seen God.
Guruji, can you tell us a little bit about the Avadhuta Gita by Lord Dattatreya?
See, Avadhut Gita is a scripture which is from one of the Puranas. Okay. Now, this is related to my Gurudev Dattatreya. This is a very, very highly defined scripture connected to the knowledge of the self. Now, the moment I say the knowledge of the self, self is something which cannot be quantified or attributes can be given. Nothing can be said about the self. Only the highest spiritual masters in this world can guide you towards that destination. It is the knowledge of the Brahma. See, everybody wants to become a Brahmanyani. All the spiritual people, no, they will say, I want to become Brahmanyani because I want to have the highest knowledge. I want to know God. Who can know God? Nobody can know God. So knowledge of the scripture, this particular Avadhut Gita, is about that, the knowledge of the self. It is not a mundane knowledge. See, we had great sages in the past. You have heard of Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, you have definitely heard of. The number of scriptures that he has written cannot be, there are so many of them. He has given knowledge about Advaita. He is given knowledge about Dvaita. He is given knowledge about so many things, unimaginable number of things. He is given the knowledge of the self. You can take the simplest of the scriptures like Tattva Bodh. It has got just a few verses. You know how difficult it is to explain to a person. An average human being has absolutely zero idea of what is being said. So Avadut Gita is to be taught to very advanced disciples. It is the true knowledge of the self, which the Dattatreya himself is imparting. And the knowledge of the self is way beyond anybody's ken and understanding. Only the highest of the spiritual masters can actually give that knowledge. If you have ever been to Calcutta, no? Calcutta, gaye? Nahi gaye.
Yes, I
So,
read.
okay. In Calcutta, there is a place called Dakshineshwar, Ramakrishna Paramahansa's place where he used to stay. Half a kilometer down, there is another temple over there. It is called Adyapith. Okay? There's a very beautiful temple there of Adyapith. There used to be another saint living over there. वो जो temple है, it is open few times, I think, in a day. कुछ तो भी थोड़े घंटे के लिए खुला रहता है वो. But you can't enter the temple. If you want to take darshan, it is nearly about 50-100 feet away from that. You take a darshan from so far. So you stand in the gallery over there and just see the images over there. Do you know what are the three images? There are three images over there. The first image that is there, the bottom one, is Ramakrishna Paramahansa. That was his guru. So first is, at the bottom is Guru. Second one in between image is of Kalima, God. Just about that is the third image of Radha Krishna, love. So from God, from your Guru you can reach God, and from God you can reach love. So the ultimate destination, as prescribed by any of the scriptures, anywhere in the world, whether it is the Bhagavad Gita, whether it is the Uddhav Gita, whether it is the Bhagavatam, whether it is the Bible, or whichever book that you can take in this world, it talks of love and devotion to God. And that is the ultimate destination everybody should aim for. That is why he says it is called the supreme goal. And that is all I teach about.
I hope you like this video. Share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. I found a lot of beautiful takeaways from this one, and I will remember it for a very, very long time. For more content on Secret India, subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. Lots more coming up.